If you click this, you're probably interested in making day trading your career. You probably currently do it and are looking to try and become profitable, or you do it already, or you're looking to start. While this may seem like a viable option due to all the perceived notions of how easy it could be once you learn the skill and master the skill, how great it would be to be self-employed, and the luxury of being able to work anywhere with just a Wi-Fi connection. Unfortunately, this couldn't be further from the truth. Now, let me start by saying I'm a realistic optimist. And yes, I believe anything can be done as long as you put your mind and all given efforts to one direction. But there has to be some discernment when coming to that. If there's forces pushing against the end goal of you becoming successful that are out of your power, then chances are you need to find a better route. You want things to go in your favor, not against your favor. A lot of you may immediately shut me down and shut this video off because it threatens the idea of a dream that you have that I once carried for a while. And I've actually had quite a breakthrough the moment I changed the end goal outcomes to something else, and now I'm far more successful than I ever thought I would have been. But if I had made that pivot sooner, I probably would have found success much earlier. And I'm here to guide you, if you're willing to listen, on how you could reach success far quicker than trying to row a boat upstream. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Matt Jimenez. I'm an entrepreneur who has worked with the greatest minds in finance over the last several years, and I'm here to pour into you guys everything that they've poured into me. Many years ago, I was infatuated with the idea that I could quit my job and just pick up this skill and it'll pay me for the rest of my life and I could be a full-time day trader. I was completely sold on the dream. This is one of several points I want to make today, is selling the dream. Growing up, I was extremely poor in school and I had no direction for my life. I found myself going from job to job. And in this job, I found a deep passion and desire to become successful. But my idea of success back in the day was just being able to quit the jobs and be able to work from home on a Wi-Fi connection and make endless amounts of money, meaning there's no cap. And day trading was the only viable option that ticked all of those boxes for me. So I was completely sold on the dream of being able to have an uncapped environment where my performance is tied to my income, becoming self-employed. That was one of the biggest things that I wanted to do for myself, because working from job to job, being in the lower bracket of academics in school, I felt like I had so much to prove. And being self-employed was one of the biggest ways I could prove, not only to my peers, but also to my parents and family members, that I'm successful. Also, the flexibility in working hours, meaning I don't have to wake up at an alarm clock. I could just wake up whenever I want and just get on the computer and start making trades and make my money for the day. And mind you, back in the day, I was pretty humble. Any amount of money that would pay what the job was paying, I was willing to start there. To me, it seemed so feasible and so doable because I wasn't really asking for a lot, but really I was asking for a lot, because most people looking to start day trading don't have a lot. And if you want to be fully sustained on day trading, you need a lot, or you need to take an exceptional amount of risk that will always go against you. And no, that's not just an opinion, that's a realistic stat. So let's say you have $10,000 and you want to start day trading. Now, depending on the risk to reward, meaning how much you're willing to lose to be able to gain, typically want to make $4 for every dollar you risk. And that is really asking for a lot, because you have to play within the parameters of what the market is giving you. So let's say you have a 50% win rate, which is actually really good. So you're bound to lose, but you're also bound to win. 50-50, that means you're a pretty good trader. But unfortunately, the losses will outpace the wins that you get. And this is what I mean. Let's say you open the account, you put the $10,000 in there, your first trade turns out to be a loser and you take a 20% loss. In order to get back that 20% loss, you now need to risk more, because what's left in the account is $8,000, and 20% of $8,000 is not $2,000. So you could see how automatically by default, you're forced to risk more if you want to just break even on a loss that you had. So this is what I mean under the notion you will always be forced to risk more. The moment you take a loss, you must win more, meaning you have to risk more on the next trade just to get back to break even. Now that's one way how the cards are stacked against you. Another reason why the cards are stacked against you is because even if you had $10,000 to put into an account that you want to manually trade, what are your bills every single month? Realistically, the average monthly spend in America is a bit over $3,000 per month. So that means that every single month on the $10,000, you need to be doing a 30% gain. Now, if you go to any financial institution and you say that you do 30% gains every single month, you would be the greatest investor in the world. In fact, Warren Buffett would probably hire you. The next point I want to get into is the reality of everything. Now, I know you've been sold on a dream, probably on someone that you admire and or look up to because they have some type of lifestyle and or personality that you want to emulate. And there's nothing wrong with that. I believe that everyone should have strong role models or someone that they aspire to be that is in a better place than they are, that fuels us, that gives us fire. But it also puts us into a scary category of forming a confirmation bias and developing some cognitive dissonance, meaning we won't allow any new information that opposes anything that could debunk this role model. Not only do we completely block out any information that could steer us on the right path, but we also only listen to the very person we want to listen to, meaning there is no potential for any new thought, which under that premise, in a short amount of time, you will 100% develop an identity. And an identity is the hardest thing to break because it's breaking down who you just built up. And that was one of the hardest pills for me to swallow as I went through the evolution of becoming a day trader. One thing you need to understand is everyone that you look up to, you're looking up to them. Why? Because they've sold you. The first thing about their day trading career was the sale of a dream to you. You are buying into the idea of a dream that you could be just like them. A dream is the easiest thing to sell. You often hear in sales, sell the destination, not the plane ride. And oftentimes these guys do come across with some pretty compelling stories and they have some relatability between you and them. They often talk about their losses and how they struggled and it wasn't easy to get here. And there's been times where they made no money, and all of that is so relatable because that's the real reality of it. But really everything changes for these guys the moment they sell you on a dream and you become a fan, because now the moment you become a fan, so do many others. And then a fan base often propels an influencer into the world of selling things. Most of these day trader influencers really are not day trading. In fact, I know several that claim to be day traders and they really do not day trade. In fact, the only thing they do is make sales in many different ways, whether it's through their course, mentoring, coaching, whatever it is. That's the way that they make their money, is on the sale of the dream that you are funding for them that they get to live. And it's a vicious cycle because no one wants to give up on their dreams. I didn't want to give up on my dreams. I gave all my working money that I was making in the jobs at the moment just to fund the idea of this dream that I had to quit those jobs. So I was making all the money I possibly could, slaving away. And then I was giving it to all these other guys who were doing the right thing. They were developing cash flow. They developed a business. And this is not any knock whatsoever on all these day traders. The knock is on the facade that day trading is the end all be all and you're going to become a day trader. You have to keep in mind, these guys are not day traders. They're marketers. They're selling you. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's business. I believe in sales and I believe in true business and marketing. In fact, that is one of the heartbeats of entrepreneurship, is being able to sell. So this is not a knock by any means, but I want you guys to get real with yourself. And I know you're probably working really hard for the money that you've put away and the money that you have. So I don't want you to fund it into a dead end. I'd rather you park it in somewhere that is far more valuable to yourself. And I know these guys may seem smart, because if I was to speak to you on a topic you don't know much about, it wouldn't take really any effort for myself to seem smart because you don't know much about it. Let's be real. Most people don't understand about the foreign exchange market. Most people don't understand about financial markets in a whole. In fact, financial literacy is probably as low as it's ever been. People don't even understand how money is made. What makes you think that they understand markets? So the moment you come in and start talking numbers, percentages, measurements, technical analysis strategies, you start to sound like a genius. And you're actually sounding a bit compelling because of how smart you seem. But truth be told, guys, if you want to learn these things, all of the material you need is online for free. And if you made it to this far in the video, then I know you're probably open-minded. So hear me out on my next point. So the alternative to funding a dead dream is finding a new way to make that ultimate dream. For instance, you were not fully sold on the dream that I want to be a day trader. What you were sold on is the idea that you could be self-employed. You were sold on the idea that you could work from anywhere in the world. You were sold on the idea that you weren't in a capped environment, meaning you can make endless money and it's only tied to your performance. All of that is still true. That's the beauty of everything. Those outcomes in your dream are still true, just not through the vehicle that you thought it would have been. That's what happened to me. Once I realized that this is not the vehicle to do that, and I slowly dabbled my newfound knowledge into what I'm really diving into, which is marketing and sales, I then exploded to the next level of success. And what I did was I just watched these guys for what they were doing rather than what they were saying. So if I bought a course or if I paid for a community, I would actually see how they built that community. How did they build this course? How are they selling it? And once I understood all those avenues of all these alternative streams of revenue to be built, I then went out and brought that skill set to the world and built a 7-figure agency. So I would highly implore that you take your skills, because you are smart, and I know that because you want better for your life, meaning you've already invested into your future. You've tried things and you're adventurous, you're open-minded. So I applaud you for that. Now take it to the next level and understand how these guys are doing it. You will soon understand how you could do it too. And then the moment you understand that, you can start a business. After working with the greatest minds in finance like Robert Kiyosaki and many others, any moment that they ever heard I'm a day trader, they would often scoff and laugh to me because they are well aware of how much of a facade that is. And mind you, these are billionaires that I'm around, and even they laugh at the joke of being a day trader. So this is not me putting my own opinion into you. This is me being fully transparent, my walk, and how other people view it. I want you to succeed, and I want you to do the smartest things with your capital because you've worked so hard for it. So understand how you've been marketed to and understand how they've kept you around. They sold you a dream, they gave you a community, and they built you an identity. Those 3 things made you a raving fan, which then funds their marketing business, their course, their product, whatever it is. You could do the same thing, which would give you your ultimate dream, which is what you ventured out to do in the first place. So take those skills, build a business, develop cash flow, because that is king. Cash flow beats everything. Next, once you develop cash flow, you must find vehicles that have the most passive environment for making income. Now, the reason why I say it like that is because there's no such thing as passive income. That's another scam in itself. Everything that you do requires some type of labor. Yes, there's lower barrier of entries to labor to an investment, but there's no such thing as a full hands-off investment. But under that notion, now you know that you could build cash flow and then park it into things that will yield you. And look, now you're still a trader. You're just not as active and you're not only depending on that. And maybe you already have that money aside and you haven't put it anywhere, but you've been dabbling and you came across this video. If you're interested in what I'm doing with the money that I built through my businesses, I'm actually deploying a good chunk of it into this software that trades for me. Down below is the link if you're interested in the one that I'm using. But regardless, whatever you do, make sure that you develop a way to streamline your cash flow, build a business, build things that stand, and build things that last. I hope that was informative. And if it was, please leave a like and I will see you on the next. Peace.